Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing: single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show. Hello, everybody. It's Colonel Steve, and we are on spring break, so we're playing the best of the Bourbon Daily once again today. Going to be doing that all week this next week, as well as next weekend. And we've got a fun show today because it goes all the way back in the archives. Episode number 1. This first appeared December 12th, 2016, if you can believe that. And what we were talking about was the fact that there was a rumor going around that Booker's was going to jump from $50 a bottle to $100 a bottle. Seemed crazy at the time because Booker's really wasn't selling. I remember going to a local liquor store, Randall's, here in St. Louis, and I want to say that they probably had 30, 40 cases marked at $39.99 for Booker's. We're talking about like the Bluegrass batch, and I forget a couple of the other ones. I bought a bunch of them because I thought if it does go up, I'd like to have those. And I lived off of those for several years. It certainly has crept up in price. It turned out that rumor was not true, at least at the time. Over time, they did stair-step it up, and we're at that $100 mark now. Here we are in 2025. But this was early on, one of the fun things that we did, got this podcast going, and I don't know, it's kind of fun to look back. It's also kind of cringy because we were definitely learning what we were doing at that time. But hopefully you enjoy the show and get to see where we got this thing started.
Let's drink.
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon, delivered to you Monday through Friday every week, starting on January 16th, 2017. Today, we've got a fun preview show where we'll be talking about the announcement of Booker's price going up to $100 retail. My name's Alicia White. Please join me in welcoming my co-hosts Steve Akeley and Evan Haskell.
Hey, Evan. Hey, Alicia. How you doing?
Doing good.
Hello, my friends. Well, Steve, my friend. And
Yeah, this is the show that almost didn't happen. Not because it's our first, it's actually a preview show. It's before the first show. But this one didn't happen because there was a little bit of a tiff going on today, right?
I don't know if that's no.
So
I like to call that cyberbullying.
I'm kind of the...
yeah, you have been cyberbullying me, haven't you?
I'm the referee here.
Wish I would.
What I like about this is the first time I'm not involved in a dispute. So usually it's me and Evan, or on our other show it's Seth and I, or even Alicia and I. It's always me, but this time it's not. So what's going on here for our listeners is, of course, Evan is famous for his video reviews. He didn't necessarily invent that, but he certainly perfected it and really, is big time in the bourbon community on Instagram, known for doing
and
that.
probably invented it. Probably,
maybe.
You can't prove it.
So
I don't
Alicia's
know
doing
about
it now.
perfected it.
I've been doing bourbon Instagram reviews before Alicia was even born.
I think
I
she's
wish.
older than you, but
Steve.
oh, sorry about that.
We do not talk about a lady's age.
This is true. Alicia's videos are outperforming Evan's now, but Evan feels that the deck is stacked against him because she has
Stacked
something,
being the key
maybe
word,
two
I'm
things
afraid.
that he doesn't. So,
Fuck.
is this
I
fair?
mean-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, so I leveled the plane today. I'm just going to let everybody know. I pulled my drunken review site off because I thought maybe double pounding that was a little too much, I pulled that off today to give a little bit of slack room so Evan can kind of catch up to speed.
No. She
I promised
pulled it because it wasn't performing as well as her other site.
I have a review that has 1,600 views, and I only have 80 followers. So, her ratio is pretty amazing.
Right. I mean, that's the point. I mean, I'm not saying that you're not.
Club.
I'm not saying that you're not performing. I'm not even saying that you don't deserve it. I'm just saying, I can never offer, what it is that, if they wanted bourbon, they'd come to me. I just don't know that it's bourbon that everyone is after.
I also drink really tasty bourbon. I will say I have a nice collection. I'm not stouting my Parkers. Not trying to stack my Parkers. I have to stack something else. I don't have 15 Parkers.
Sure. I mean, I understand that. So I guess really we're all on the same page here. If you want to look at, ladies in low cut shirts, you go to Alicia's. And if you want to learn a little bit about exactly, if you want to learn a little bit about bourbon, you come to mine. And, the numbers are showing what the people really want. So, but, today I gave the people, a little something.
So Evan's latest video features him unzipping the front of his shirt all the way down as low as it would go while he's crying, drinking his bourbon.
So, Alicia definitely brings something to the table. And I bring something to the table as well. And
I bring two things to the table.
I'm just going to have to get used to being second best. And like I said, it's no one's fault, but my own. And I'm a little upset about it. But
can I say one thing though? I know that you visually can't get past what happens, but I also have amazing taste, and I talk people through things. I have many people that love to see my reviews and tell me that they go out and buy the bourbon per the review. Just saying, or they don't. They don't. They thank me for my fine bourbon taste.
Of course they do. They want to talk to you and tell you what you want to hear, and then maybe you'll talk to them and tell them what they want to hear.
Alicia, just please don't check your DMs.
Yes.
As long as you don't do that, I think we're okay here.
I don't really, I'm telling you, that's comment wise. That's not private.
There's nothing but love.
I'm sure Evan has a full vast amount of people that DM him.
Oh,
I mean, they might not all be beautiful women.
There's a button called decline all that wipes out about 100 or so would-be suitors every morning.
Oh, sure.
And you don't even have to unzip your shirt, do you?
I don't actually. Actually, it's preferable. It's funny today when I unzipped my shirt, all the they declined all on their own, so everything disappeared. I have no more DMs, even from friends. Even from people I know. It's just gone.
I noticed you were trending in terms of the face with the laughing till it's crying emoticon today.
Yeah,
so
I did.
So you dominated in that.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're not going to resolve this.
I'm doing all my reviews for the next month in turtlenecks, just to prove you wrong.
All right. Let's see how that goes.
You're going to have to get rid of both of your accounts, I guess.
She's down to four followers.
It'll be all right. The people will rally.
All right. We're not going to resolve this today. This is going to be ongoing. We'll check back in on that. But we do have an exciting show, and we will get to that after the break. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of Executive Bourbon Steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your Executive Bourbon Steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your Executive Bourbon Steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show.
I'm Jess Rubin, and I've got a cold. You are listening to the Bourbon Daily.
What are we talking about again today, Alicia?
We're going to discuss that news that just broke this week about Booker's prices going up, doubling almost to $100.
Yeah, people are all talking, Chuck Cowdery, broke the news, or Fred Minnick broke the news. Well, Evan helped break the news, too. I mean, it just so happened that, I didn't have the original sources, but shortly after Chuck and Fred announced it, I put it out on Instagram, and that's when things got rowdy. I mean, I got there first, I feel like. I mean, third, but first.
Well, I do feel like you've got a solid Instagram following that are people dedicated to bourbon, so I think you were all over it. You were definitely part of the information that was out there. Yeah,
I helped. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
We'll get to that after the break, but first we need to know what everybody's drinking. It is a bourbon podcast. We have to drink bourbon, right?
That's right.
Yes, we do. Let me tell you,
no, Steve.
I didn't know that Alicia was doling out.
Alicia is in charge here. It's her show. We're just a couple people. I, on the other hand, I am enjoying actually some Bookers. I've got the Bluegrass, so this may be some of the last Bookers that I ever have. So.
Yeah. Booker's Bluegrass, I gave that a very high rating in Bourbon Zeppelin, as I recall.
You did, yeah.
So high that it had to be thrown out.
Yes, yeah, you got tossed.
All right, cool. Well, Alicia, is it my turn?
I guess if you need to go.
I do, thank you. I was sticking with the theme here only in as much as I'm drinking some overpriced Jim Beam small batch product. But I'm drinking Knob Creek 2001 Batch 3, which I actually love. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is really, really good. But it was really expensive. And, quite frankly, I'm one of the only people, I think, who's been singing the praises of this. And that's only if I separate myself from the price tag. So I think this bourbon is really good. I'm enjoying it right now, right out of the bottle, of course.
Of course.
But, it was like $140 or something. That ain't cheap.
Nice.
And you, Alicia, what are you having?
So I'm not going with the trend. I just want you all to know this. I'm going against the grain. I'm having Rock Hill Farms,
Ooh,
Buffalo
nice.
Trace.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's got
Can you just go
pretty.
pick that up? Can you just pick that up at any store by you?
Heck no.
Okay.
No, people love it. You couldn't find it. No, I actually
Yeah.
traded around to get it.
Nice.
You know,
There was It was one that sat on shelves by me. I mean, a whole case of it was sitting on the shelf for like a year. And so I just never bought it. And then when I finally went in to pull the trigger, it was gone, and I haven't seen it since. So
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know that I'm in love, but it's good. It's 100 proof. I like at least 100 proof bourbon.
yeah. Same mash bill as the Ancient Age and the Elmer T. Lee.
Yep. Number 2.
Got the Hancock's President's Reserve or Presidential Reserve. I can never remember. Hancock's. We'll call it
Hancock's.
Yep.
It has my favorite word in it.
Han.
All right. Well, when we get back, we're
Lord help me.
when we get back, we're going to dive into this. So see you in a few.
Okay, welcome back. Let's talk a little about Booker's, Steve.
Yeah, I kind of thought a lot about this. I actually did what works out best for me is I cleared my head by going on a nice long walk today and kind of taking some notes. But this is, I'm giving people, how my mind works, and Alicia's laughing. So,
Did you have a flask with you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It was cold out. I mean,
all of a sudden it's making more and more sense to me.
So I broke this down, and let's talk about each of these 6 individually, but I kind of want to line them out here. So I think this happened for one of 6 reasons. Number 1, greed. Number 2, detached management. Number 3, mismanagement.
Woo!
Number 4, we'll take a look at maybe giving them the benefit of the doubt. Is it savvy management?
Oh, I see what you did there.
And number 5, maybe this is all just a conspiracy theory.
We never did land on the moon.
Right. Yeah. And number 6, not necessarily tied into one of the reasons why it happened, but we're going to delve into a little bit of, did the bubble just burst? I know that Seth keeps saying that. He's posted that, our buddy from the Bourbon Show. And, he may be onto something, so we'll talk about that as well. But let's start first with greed. Do you guys think that there's any chance this is just sheerly a matter of greed?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then we'll just end the show. I guess that's the answer.
Yeah. It's all greed driven. No, I do. I think that, I think Jim Beam looked back and they're like, dag, there are other products on the market that are comparable to this that they're charging more money for. Why don't we just charge a buttload of money and see what happens?
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely something to that. But, I think, too, one of the things that we're going to start seeing across the board, and we already have, is the distilleries trying to get their piece of the secondary market pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're looking at all this barrel proof stuff and every other distiller, basically their barrel proof stuff is super limited and it does have a secondary market, and Booker's really doesn't. So now they want that money in their pocket instead of everyone else's. So, what are you going to do?
And in some ways as bourbon fans, I think we almost feel like that's pure evil. But if you think about any other product, if there was a secondary market for it, even, you're from Michigan, Evan, if it was automobiles, if there was something going on where all cars sold for $20,000, but that there was other people would actually be able to buy them and sell them for $30,000, I think the automakers would raise their price. So yes. I don't know that it's as pure evil as we might think. And let's not forget, too, I think one of the things that could be driving this idea for greed is the fact that they sold Booker's for $300, and that was gone from the shelves instantly.
Yeah, the rye.
I do too.
Right. And of course, I think Booker's rye, that's what I meant to say. Booker's rye is obviously an incredible story. It's some of the last barrels that was ever laid down by Booker Noe himself. And the fact that, it was the first time they offered that. But, I think they could possibly look at something like that and say, hey, if that sold for $300, maybe we can get $100 out of regular Bookers.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Yeah.
The next one I've got is detached management. So obviously the company, Beam, is owned by Suntory Holdings out of Japan. And is this a matter of, maybe they just don't understand the business and they're trying to take a bigger role than they have in the past?
Well, I also know that Japanese whiskey is so hot right now that they're actually able to, get a lot more for that than they could have just a couple years ago. So, maybe that's leading the charge. Maybe all the price hikes for the, Japanese whiskey that's selling out of stores, maybe maybe they just want the rest of their brand to follow suit, and they thought Booker's was a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was this thought that they're just going to leave Beam alone. The fact that it's making money and bourbon's so hot, maybe they'll be hands off and just say, hey, the only thing we could do is mess that up. But maybe this is an indicator that maybe that's not happening. They are going to be jumping in and taking a bigger role in what the company's doing moving forward.
Yeah, I actually think that they have been making changes, but changes that a typical bourbon consumer that's just buying a bottle wouldn't be able to see. And I think this is maybe one of those just first changes that you're really getting a visual of, not being part of the, working there, or being, in that role. So
I think she's saying that you and I are too dumb to have caught anything previously, but the Bookers just smacked us in our dumb, drooling faces.
Right.
Is that how you
I
heard
think
that?
that's translated. That's exactly what she said.
It sounded super nice when I said it, though.
It really did. I'd listen to you call me a moron all day.
So the third one on our list is this, perhaps an example of just mismanagement, thinking that, hey, let's just throw a price on there and see what happens. Yeah. It sells for 50, 55. Let's throw 100 on there and throw it against the wall and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe their head's just awfully big after the Booker's Rye again. I mean, it was a very high price point. It did sell out. It was, Jim Murray's World Whiskey of the Year. If there's any time to, the Booker's brand is, at least in their minds, as hot as fire. So, maybe they just want that Booker's to kind of, follow suit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I personally think they're making room and putting this distance and price point. There's going to be a gap now where they can bring in a new product that may not be the typical Booker's, but something different that will fall into the old Booker's place.
I think they're going to jack up the Knob Creek prices is what I think.
Well, yeah, I do believe that.
And that kind of could fit into our next one, because the next one that I've got is this really a savvy move? Is this something that actually, if you take a step back and don't look it through the eyes of a bourbon fan, but through, as a company, maybe this is something that's really smart for them to do? Because if you think about it, if Booker's at double the price loses half of its business, they're still making the exact same amount of money. And right now they're in a situation where capacity outstrips demand. So if they're still making as much as they did off Booker's, but then free up some capacity where they can make something else that perhaps sells, do they not win? Do they not win?
I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think, in order for them to keep, these honey barrels at barrel proof pointed at Booker's, they need to get $100 out of Booker's, because otherwise they can water it down, add apple flavoring to it, and they can sell it by the caseload to college girls. And they're going to get rich. So if they look at it and say, we could water this down and add, cherry or add apple or add whatever else and make our, profits that way, we're not going to keep funneling this into Booker's for, $40 a pop.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it. Gosh darn it. But the trouble is and if you're looking at solely Booker's, I don't think Booker's is worth $100, but I think whether or not that's true or not is the least of Beam's concerns right now.
Right. Because if you really look at Booker's in the scheme of the Beam portfolio, it's actually, it is a small batch, and it's probably a pretty small thing. Now, of course, compared Booker's to even small distilleries, it's huge. But in the Beam portfolio, it's probably pretty small. And you know what? If they put it out and it holds its own at $100, well, now they've elevated really probably the worth of everything in that portfolio.
Yep.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think savvy management is honestly going to win this argument here, but I'd rather talk about conspiracy theories personally.
Well, the conspiracy theory is a fun one, and this one really, I've seen this happening for a while, and I've been wondering what's going on, because Booker's in St. Louis has been flooding the market. I mean, it's literally stacked up 40, 50, 100 cases in some stores, which is a lot of product for them to try to get rid of. And even though they've been having a fantastic price, $39, is kind of the going rate in St. Louis, which is, but you know what, still, that's a lot of product to have on the floor. So they've really kind of maybe forced that down the throat of their vendors a little bit. And now there may be that pushback of, you got to help us get rid of this. So follow me along here. What if they now say, hey, could you help us outsell this? And what Beam comes up with, hey, we'll announce that we're going to sell it for $100. Everybody's going to think, wow, I can jump in and get this $39 Bookers and snatch it all up, which I saw happening to some degree when I was out yesterday. People are buying it and saying, hey, did you hear it's going up to $100? So they're just going to start clearing all that off the floor. Well, then maybe Beam is able to say at some point down the road, hey, we heard the fans. You said you didn't want to pay $100. Let's go back to, what happened. Let's just hit reset. Well, they've now resolved that issue of all that being on the floor.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, they legitimately confirm that, yes, they are going to raise it to 100. Meanwhile, the bourbon crazed among us run out, grab them up at $39 a pop, clear them off the floors. Everybody's happy. And then they say, maybe we'll just do, $79.99 or.
And everybody comes back and says, you're good guys. That's great. We win. Well, maybe you didn't.
Yeah, my thought is people are going to bunker them, and then Beam is going to come back. Instead of saying we're doubling the price, they're going to say we're going to put it up 20 or 30%, and people are still happy, and no one cares about it at that point.
Yeah,
that they're raising the price.
So this makes it one to watch. So this is not an answer that we're going to have right away, but it is something to keep your eye on. And the last thing that I want to talk about is this happening. Did the bubble just burst? Because, as good as things are going right now in bourbon, it's one of those things where a domino effect can happen. And if you can point to one thing, this could be it. Suddenly they raise the price, they double it on Bookers. Everybody else starts raising prices. Next thing you know, the fringe fans, I think the core people, the people that listen to this show, they're probably in bourbon for the long haul. But the people that have just been kind of dipping their toe in, maybe this ticks them off and they're out. And then all of a sudden when you have a lower market, well, there's less profits to be made. Prices tumble, quality tumbles. And next thing you know, it's a free fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I can say personally, and not as a result of this, but people will recognize that I've been a little vocal about what's going on with the Bookers, and as far as the bubble bursting, like my bubble did burst, personally. I was hoarding. I mean, I really was. A case of Elmer T. Lee there, like Alicia mentioned, Parker's Heritage. I wanted. And then I finally just stepped back and it's like, nah, I can't, I was feeding into it and now I'm stepping back a little bit, and I want the bourbon I have to be able to be consumed in the foreseeable future. And I like the idea of, drinking through a super premium bottle and then beginning the hunt for the next super premium bottle. So, I mean, I'm still very much invested into it, but I've taken a big step back as far as, do I have to have one of everything? And when I find something that's my favorite, do I need to find 12 of those? Right. And I'm stepping back and saying no. So, maybe, I'm hitting that on a personal level, and maybe other people will see the Bookers thing and maybe, reevaluate the way they look at it. And maybe I don't think the bourbon bubble is ever going to burst, though. So play with that.
My fear is that we're going to take these drinkable bourbons, and the ones Bookers around here, I can always find it. It's drinkable. It's a good price point. For people that are coming into the bourbon world, I love, that they're able to go grab these bourbons that are somewhat, that are good. They're good bourbons. They have this great story. They're able to have it. It's fun to drink, and then once we start hiking the prices up, everything's so hard to get your hands on, and then you're bottom shelf shopping, and next thing you know, you're drinking mellow corn. And glad you got it.
Right.
I mean, how are we going to ring in the new people with this?
Look, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I could live off of Evan Williams' white label.
Did you see my review? That was a shout out to you. I was kind of my shout out.
I thought you were ripping me off.
Right.
That's how I read it.
That started the fight, actually.
Yeah, I was like, look at this. Here's someone hawking my, go
doing it better than you.
Yes.
In the review,
not better,
I
but
said,
better looking.
This is one of my good friends. This is to them. They told me it was really good. It's the first bottle I ever had. And I dedicated it to you.
Did you give them the @ Evan Haskell? That's what I want to know.
No, she didn't.
Yeah,
No,
because
I tagged you in it.
She's trying to keep me.
No, I totally did.
Did you tag me? Because that's different than putting my at Evan Haskell right there in the subject matter. Like I did for you.
I'm not really as savvy as you.
I'm constantly trying to funnel fans your way, and then you're trying to just gobble them up.
You made people laugh at me today. It made me sad.
No, you're not sad.
No, I was. I cried.
No, she's not. She's not.
Before we wrap it up.
Don't buy into this.
Before we wrap this up.
I did put at Evan Haskell in my description. Thank you. 100%.
No, thank you. Oh, thank you.
And dedicated it to you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, before we wrap this up, I need you guys to get back on track. We're talking about Beam, $100. I know this has been an incredibly
Evan Williams White Label
time.
is not $100.
It's been incredibly stressful, but if you had to land on one of these 6 things, what do you think happened with Beam going up to $100?
Savvy management.
Okay, savvy.
And everything we discussed under that heading, I really do.
Alicia, what do you think?
I think it's detached management, personally.
And I am going to agree with Evan. I think that Beam is just too big. They've been doing it too long to not be well thought about this. And I do think, even though they're owned under a large company that's very far away, that you could have a detached management situation. I think that company is big enough and smart enough to know we just need to stay out of these guys' way. And as long as they're making money, we'll let them do their thing. So I think that this is a savvy management thing on the part of the Beam team.
And our listeners will get back to us and tell us that Steve and I are idiots and that Alicia, is clearly right.
Emotionally, Alicia, I agree with Alicia. I want there to be a villain there, and I want there to be some horrible thing mistake that they've made. But I think that it's probably going to be what it is.
And I had some help, Alicia, because Steve and I talked about this a little bit the other day, and I know from the Bourbon Show that Steve is always right. So I kind of tricked, I finessed my way into getting Steve to share with me what his point of view was, and then I studied up on that point of view.
Just followed suit.
So
hey, we'll get Alicia there. It's going to take some time.
I live in Kentucky, so I know people that work there or have worked there. So I've heard a different side of a story that you all don't know.
Sure.
I feel like I bring a different part.
But let me tell you something. If you talk to people at my company versus the people who are actually making the decisions, you're going to get a very different answer, too.
I was just going to say.
I don't think you're in that inner circle, unfortunately, as cool as you are.
I am 100% in that inner circle.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Jim Bob Carl on the bottling line doesn't have the inside scoop.
Well, time is going to tell us what actually happens. We're going to have to give this a little bit to see where it actually goes. But the good thing is it's recorded. We can go back and listen. And if Evan and I end up being right, we'll point that out. And if it doesn't, we'll just kind of quietly forget about that.
Show.
All right.
I have some big man small batch bunkered. That's my favorite Bookers. So bunker that and never buy Bookers again.
Yeah. Yeah, Booker's.
I don't own any Bookers at the moment and have none in a bunker, so I will be buying a few bottles.
Well, I can pick it up for you for $39, and one of the stores kept it there. A couple of them started raising it already.
It's insane.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Costco.
But see, Alicia, as soon as you go out and buy it, you're just playing into Beam's hands. You're doing exactly what they wanted you to do.
Yep.
And the rich will get richer.
Yeah.
I don't mind. It's all right. I've given worse people my money.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. Alicia, where can people find you?
Well, if they want to go on Instagram and watch a really good review, they can find me at Evan Haskell on Instagram. Or they can check out I do write a column for the Bourbon Zeppelin called Off the Bourbon Trail. The Bourbon Zeppelin is also on Instagram under the Bourbon Zeppelin. Or they can always come back and listen to me on the Bourbon Daily, which might be the best part now.
Sure.
Oh, snap.
You can find me at Steve Akeley on Instagram or Twitter. I also want to put a plug for my book, Bourbon Mixology. It's the holiday shopping season, and everybody's been picking it up, so I really appreciate all of you that have bought that already. Those that you haven't, check it out on Amazon. You can pick it up for $9.99. The one you want to look for is Volume 2. That is the 50 iconic bars sharing their signature bourbon cocktail.
You can find me, the original Instagram bourbon review video gentleman, and you can watch those reviews on Instagram at Evan Haskell. That's your one-stop shop for bourbon reviews on Instagram. Once you go Evan, you never go back.
Oh man. Now we do this show not just because we love bourbon, but because we like to get your feedback. So you should go on Instagram. You should go on iTunes. Yeah. You should go on iTunes. You should give us at least a 5-star. I mean, I'm always guaranteed, I think I'm a 5-star. There's a place to write a comment. In that comment, you write my name, not Evan's. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you like the show. If you did not like the show and you had some type of problem that made you not want to hit the number 5-star on there, you need to contact me directly so I can handle that for you. Absolutely. Other than that, yeah.
Contacting you right away.
All right. Well,
I think that's a good point, because I always say about Alicia, Alicia is a solid 5.
Oh, you're going to be paying for that one.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
All right, well, that wraps it up. This is just a fun preview show. Remember that the Bourbon Daily kicks off on Monday, January 16th. Please download that, subscribe, and be ready for it. Take care, everybody.
See you guys. See y'all later.
Bye.
Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.